open. Just saying he's getting sound. Oh, okay, good. So everyone can hear me okay? Clear sound? Good. All right. Excuse me. Let's start with the new sheet, okay? So let me throw that up. Hold on one second. I know I put a version 3. Now I have version 4. I want to use this one moving forward. Let me bring it up. Okay, can everybody see that file? Download that, please, and open it up on your screen, because I'm going to do a screen share with that Excel sheet. Okay. Anyone who does get it open, just tell me that it opened okay. Now you need to enable it for editing if you want to modify it. And if it comes up with something about macros, you can disable the macros. You don't need the macros running on this particular sheet. So just we want the regular sheet. Okay, good. Ron, did it open up okay? Okay, good. All right, we'll give everybody a chance to download that. Okay. Okay, so anybody that's just joining us, I want you to download this new copy of the CashFlow sheet, version 4. This is the new sheet I want you to use, please. You can delete the other ones or get rid of them. Okay, I'm going to give another 30 seconds, and then we're going to do a screen share. Where I'll run through the sheet with you and walk through the changes, okay? All right. Okay. Does anybody need more time? We good? Okay. Let's do this then. Okay. One second. There we go. Okay. Everybody see this? We good? The black square is the box I need to see your questions through. So I can't get rid of that, unfortunately. Okay. All right. So you'll see at the top here, I have something called area standard cap rate. Now, does everybody remember cap rate? Area standard cap rate is more of a retail kind of cap rate in a particular area. Typically in Canada, on average, we're looking at between 3 and 4. So let me enable that. You're gonna put the number of the area to give you an idea of what would be retail in this particular area that you're looking at. So if the retail cap rate was 3, it'll start to calculate the estimated retail value and estimated discount against that retail value. Now, the reason this is valuable, you're getting double sound. Well, that's weird. Maybe you have 2 windows open. Maybe you opened it twice, Dave. I see Dave too, so maybe Dave 1's still open. Okay. All right. So does everybody understand what I mean when I say area cap rate? Does anybody have any questions about that? So cap rate, the standard cap rate in an area, 3 is common. You could get a cap rate of 5 or whatever it is, but the way the way you know, we can get cap rate actually is to look at a series of properties and create our own comparable of that property and of a series of properties and start to get a standard cap rate, or you know, an understanding of what it is. Now you can work with a realtor on this. It's not a big deal, but it's good. It's good to give you that idea of what kind of you know, what would be retail in an area on income properties. Okay. Okay. So the standard cap rate is let's say is 5, right? What this is going to do for us is give us an estimated retail value, an estimated discount based on the income numbers, but we'll come back to that. Okay. So here we see the property is 2.4 million, 37 units. This is an actual property actually that our students are working on. And let me put, what did I have? Laundry. Is laundry right? Is that how I spell that right? Laundry? You can put the laundry in there, because that's what that one was, laundry. I don't know why I had that if it's not there. Okay, so we see 37 units, 404, 252 is the income, no other income from it. And then we have our expenses, and then we have our vacancy, maintenance and management. Now here, what I've done is I've opened these up so you can put zeros here. And why would we want to put zeros here? Does anybody want to tell me why would we put zeros there? What would be the reason we'd want to put zeros? To adjust for the area, yeah. If there's a specific reason we want to put those zeros in there, because obviously that's going to affect our numbers, right? Our net operating expense is going to go down. Now, what case would those be zeros? What case? Might be more or less, yeah, but I wouldn't, you know, if we're talking standard income properties, I'd want you to stick with those minimums. But there would be a situation where I would put zeros here. If you want to think about maybe or guess at why would we want to put zeros there? In what situation would we want to put zeros there? Now we wouldn't do it in this property, that's for sure. But on certain properties we might put 0, 0, 0 because anybody? Rent to own, there we go. Good. Rent to own, that's why, right? The rent to own, those expenses wouldn't be there. So we could run, yeah, lease option. So we could run the numbers with these and then take them away and see what a lease option would differ in that amount. Okay. Now we come down here. This is all the same. Mortgages, I've also allowed more flexibility here, so I could put 55. You know, I can change. Obviously, you can go. I think I let this go to 99. Yep, 99 years if you wanted to do that. Amortization period, that's going to affect things for sure. But there's more flexibility on changing those things up. On this one, we're going to see 65-35 because it's a 37-unit building. Okay. Come down here. This is all the same. Nothing's really changed here. Okay. So same numbers matter, okay? The one that I really don't worry about too much is average per unit. I don't want you to worry too much about that, at what that number is, okay? Now, if we come down here, we see, there we go. So what this does down here is it's giving you an estimated retail value, and that's just working off of, obviously, the standard cap rate, what it is. To give you an estimated retail value, I think it gives us the opportunity to possibly look at the property as a what? Can anybody tell me why the estimated retail value would be meaningful to us? Who can tell me? Refi? Yep, that'd be good for that. For rehab, good. Good. What else? One more. Those are all right. Wholesale, right? So maybe the property is not going to give us the proper cash flow to make it work. But even with the cash flow not working for us, you know, it's not high enough or good enough for us. We might still be able to, you know, set up an opportunity for a wholesale deal. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Okay, good. All right, as we come down here, right, same information's here, right? We still got the same information. You know, first offer with VTB, all that's in there. What I've added here is total wealth accumulation. Now, this gives you an idea for the individual when they run a VTB, you know, how much they'll actually make at the end of the deal. So if they give us a VTB, you know, and 738,000, 5-year term, 65-year amortization, that could be 30, it doesn't really matter. The 30 amortization, 4% interest rate. The balloon payment's going to be $667, the yearly and the monthly are going to be that. What this tells us is that VTB with interest and principal, they're going to make the total, you know, how much total we're going to pay is $2,142,945.31 versus the list price. We see that versus the list price, now we're only reducing it by 10%, right, from what they actually wanted for the property. So even though we paid, $2,100,000, we're going to end up paying them $2,142,000. Okay, because of the VTB. It just gives an idea for the individual in you, for you to present, you know, the total wealth accumulation for the seller, what they're going to actually make at the end of the deal, right? And I think this is good too, because this will, you know, show that even though we're purchasing for 108, you know, we're gonna actually pay you 142, and that's going to be, you know, less of a discount than you originally thought, right? And then we got VTB interest only. That's always going to be a little bit better because it's interest only, and they're going to get more on it because the interest rate is a little bit higher, and also they're getting interest on the whole amount, and that brings it up to $2,187,740 versus the list price is discounts only 8.8%. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Anybody have any questions? No questions at all. Everybody's good. Was that clear? Wow, was that good? That was great. I explained that well, I guess. That's good. So the new additions are going to be, right, the estimated retail value, estimated discount against the retail value. So even though the property we're getting it for $2.4 million, the reason this number is this high is because if the cap rate on this property, okay, I'm just going to move this. If the cap rate, let me just get that. If the cap rate, I got to move this over a little bit. Excuse me. Here. I feel a little small. There we go. If the cap rate is 5 for this particular area, then it's going to calculate the income based on this cap rate. So even though we're looking for a 10 cap rate, if the standard cap rate of the area is 5, then the value is going to be somewhere in this range. Okay, just to give you a guide. Okay, so estimated retail is $4.2 million. Now it doesn't care what this price is. It doesn't care what the price we're paying for or the list price. All it cares about is the income number, right? The income number. And based on that net operating income, that's what it's deciding what the value is off that cap rate. So in a market like, you know, Toronto or Vancouver, you know, the cap rates are running around 3%. So you know, the prices are going to be, you know, much larger, you know, in a retail environment. Now, estimated discount is going to be based on the estimated retail value versus what we're paying. That's how it's getting that number. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? So this is saying 65%. We're paying 65%. Sorry, we're getting a 65% discount. Or sorry, we're getting 65% discount. My apologies. 67, 66. I'm in trouble with numbers today. Okay. Now, sorry, my list price again. So this price here is the price that we've the list price, or what we've negotiated as a price so far. It's 2.4 million. We're running the numbers, and as we go through this, it's basically the same sheet. I've just added these other elements to give us maybe some more insight on the value of the property, because I just don't want you to think because a property doesn't cap at 10, it's not valuable or an opportunity, right? So and how do we get those standard cap rates? Well, you can talk to an experienced realtor who'll know what these standard cap rates are. You can just run a bunch of properties. You can run 3, 4, 4 properties, 5 properties in a particular area, and base it around income. These are income properties, and say, look, what are people paying for that kind of income? Because there's two real forces to that price that we're seeing here, this price. Okay, one is cap rate, just cap rate. Simple cap rate will drive the value. Now this one's very strong. This is the more reasonable business-like approach to assessing value. That being said, even if this is the case, so let's say that the cap rate in a particular area, in an area is 5, right? So it says it's 4.217, but the list price they give you, say, is 5 million. Okay, so they give us a 5 million. You're thinking, let's try that again. You're thinking, well, how is this possible, right? How are they getting 5 million, right? And the reason is because can someone tell me why this would be this would be the case? Can anybody tell me? So how could they be saying 5 million if the standard cap rate in the area is 5? What could drive the price above this estimated retail? Because this estimated retail is based on income, which should be the one and only for us. But at times you'll see this price higher than the estimated retail that we've calculated. Multiple offers could cause that, yeah, and I think that leads to that point that Kathy, even though the property, demand, even though the property should be in this range, what's happening is because there's a hot market or a hot area in this particular region that you're looking at, or area or neighborhood, the cap rate is closer to a 4, and then all of a sudden you look, and well, even though the area is 5, in this particular case 4, so the market can drive a price up because of that demand, exactly, right? But the more reasonable, business-like, it should be around 5. But just don't be shocked if these numbers end up like this, right? It just tells you that the area, that particular area, is fetching just a lower cap rate, which is basically a higher price. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Anybody have questions about that? Okay, well, wait, I see some typing. So cap rates, you're asking about cap rates in rural areas. It would really depend, on the area that you're looking at. I wouldn't be, I couldn't tell you. Really, I couldn't say what they're going to be. In a city, a metropolitan, you're looking between 3 and 4. A rural area could be less. It really depends on what's happening in that area, that market. And, this is where I really like data to tell me what that cap rate is. What those prices are ranging out on. The reason the cap rate becomes important, even in rural areas or city areas, is what are people paying for the income, right? And what are they paying for that income? So when you see a 4 cap rate, basically it's saying, and this is about the same price. Basically, it's saying that people, for this net operating income of $210,000, people are going to pay $5 million for that. Which when we look at it, really this property isn't making any money at all, right? Because once we throw financing on it, it's going to look at this coverage ratio is 0.66, which means it's not covering the income's not covering the debt service. This doesn't work, right? And And when you get into these commercial properties, you could be looking at, financing a 15-year mortgage, right? At say 4.5, and 35 is either coming through a VTV or you, and the VTV, could be 5%, which is pretty good. You're looking at, the debt service on this is $409,000. The net operating income is $210,000. In other words, you only got 50% of the income coming in. You can look at here, and we see that this property is losing about $500 per unit. So the only way, we're going to offset that is to have, basically a big fat zero, and zero here, to help it, and it's still, we're looking at $195 per unit as a loss, right? So, then people start cutting into other things, right? So we're putting 35% down, so there's no interest on that. We're doing 65 through the bank, 15-year amortization, 4.5%. We say, look, vacancy, let's make that a zero because there's just no vacancy in this area. And let's, maintenance, we'll figure it out as we need it, right? And management, we'll manage it ourselves. So you're bringing all these things down to try to make these numbers work. And you look, and you see, look, it's breaking even. It's breaking even. And this is a common occurrence, for a property. It's a common occurrence that properties have to be vacancy maintenance. You're taking care of all this, or you're not counting this. You're putting a huge chunk of money down. That's just to break even, right? And people are buying into the idea that, well, the property is going to appreciate over time. I'll make money when I sell it. So that's not what we want to do. That's why, a property in perfect condition, is not really, they don't need your help in that situation. We shouldn't expect the property to be in perfect condition in that sense of, financing, or it's been managed properly, probably has high vacancy, things like that. Those are reasons for us to get the discount, because this individual is unable to get that property to where it's profitable. Working with some students now on a property multi-unit where the vacancy is 40%, and that's 40% is steep, obviously. Property is bleeding money, but that's the opportunity, right? It is, but this is it, right? That's a good thing for us, right? Because then we can justify. We can point to this and say, hey, this property is a problem for you. Let us take that away from you. Yeah, let us take it away from you. Let's take this pain away from you, and get you out of this deal. And that's where they become more open to creative financing. Now, someone asked, where can we find the current cap rate? You could talk to a realtor, obviously, and ask them, what are the current cap rates in a particular area. Experienced ones will know what that is. Also, you can find out the cap rates yourself by simply running a bunch of properties in the area to give you a general idea of what the cap rate is what the market's absorbing as a standard cap rate at that particular time. Okay, so well, I mean, yeah, you can find empty properties. That would definitely be an opportunity. Properties that are a problem basically for people. Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a situation. Remember, right? When we see a property for rent, that we see a problem. A potential problem for somebody because someone's losing money. That's when we can come in and say, well, let's take this. So let's get rid of this problem for you. For me to do that for you, I need A, B, C, D. Right? And really what we're working out when we're talking about negotiation and finding the right opportunity is time more important to you or money more important to you? Or is it both? And if it's both, then we'll work out that. What I want you to see is that really there's always a way, almost always, I won't say 100% of the time, but pretty close, with two individuals that are working together to make something work. I need to fill with my own clients. This is my struggle. It's easy to find the properties that are full of tenants. Yeah, Ron, I mean, it depends where you're looking, but I mean, yeah, that can happen. You can feel like, those properties are full. Ron, did you get a chance to come back on that property about those tenants? I know you're working on that property. wouldn't give you vacant possession. Did you attempt to offer? Did you attempt to offer any money for the tenants? Oh, and they still didn't want it. The tenants didn't want it, or the seller wouldn't do it, or. That's disappointing. That's disappointing. Wow. Okay, so let me share a little bit about what I'm talking about with Ron. So let's look at an opportunity, a property, okay? And actually, I do think that let me just go back to the screen. That Ron is in a unique position. He works in an industry where housing for individuals, clients of his, is very important part of his business. He's trying to expand, and Ron, maybe you should share with everybody the areas that you're looking at, and possibly if someone gets a property that works in that area, that maybe they could wholesale or joint venture or something with you. What areas, Ron, are you looking at right now to fulfill for those clients? GTA, Lindsay, Peterborough, and Coburg. Okay. So anybody that's looking in these areas, or if you want to look in these areas, Ron's interested in these properties, in these areas. Ron, do you want to give him some detail on what you're looking for? So this is an opportunity for anybody who's looking in these areas or wants to look in these areas. Ron's interested in properties in these areas. Obviously, they got to be able to cash flow, make money. But if you're looking to wholesale or maybe flip a property out, or maybe even you have an opportunity for joint venture with Ron, if you find properties in the GTA, Lindsay or Peterborough or Coburg, 3 to 6 unit multis, plexes at least. Ron, what about rooming houses? Like houses with 5 bedrooms. Does that work? No, okay. They got to be separate units? Okay. So there you go. Ron, do you want to, it's totally up to you, my friend. You don't have to. But if you want to throw up your email to everybody, it's totally up to you. You don't have to, Ron. But if you want to throw up your email so everybody has it, that they can reach out to you and let you know if they have properties in those areas. This is a great opportunity, actually. I think anybody and everybody should consider looking in these areas. Great. Everybody grab that email, or, okay, this email, and start hunting for properties, and know that Ron's looking for these properties right now. He's looking for these opportunities. So it's great when you have somebody telling you, I'm looking for these types of properties in these particular areas, because it gives you an opportunity and a reason to hunt in that area. Then he's telling you 3 to 6 units. No love from Montreal. Well, Manuel, you can still look in those areas. Everybody can look at those areas. Don't think you can, if you're in Vancouver, you can still look in the area. Right? Exactly, not at this point, but Ron's hoping to, in our conversation, go Canada-wide at some point, but at this point he's trying to really, ramp up his business. Yeah, absolutely. So right now, the hot areas for him, the areas of importance to him, most important to him, the most urgency is the GTA, Lindsay, Peterborough, Coburg. So I would suggest everybody look in those areas. If you're interested in wholesaling or flipping up a property, or Ron, are you open to partnerships on these types of deals? Is this something you're looking at also? Okay, some people are typing. I'm looking up Bowmanville. Coburg also good. Have formed a partnership in how they work, but remain open to exploration. Good. All right, look, even if you have, this is great. So Karen, you're looking for properties for yourself in those areas, is that right? Okay, so everybody, really, anybody that's interested, look for properties in these areas. There's 2 individuals, in our group here that are looking for properties in this area. If you have capital and you want to get involved in these, have people that with capital that are looking to want to lend or partnership with, I would open up the door to that. Karen, are you open to partnerships at this point, or do you want to go solo right now? Okay, there you go. Well, there you go, folks. Someone who's looking for possible capital infusion for properties in this particular area. If you want to partner up, or if you want to flip properties, or this is how we do it. Your first resource is this group. So I would take some time and maybe look at those properties as part of your scanning of opportunities in Canada. Those particulars, I think, are worth your time and effort. So one thing I want to show is this, yeah, getting experience. You're right. Okay, so something I want you to consider. So me and Rob were talking about his property. He wanted to buy this property, and they couldn't, or they felt like they couldn't, you sell the property with empty units, right? Because there's tenants in the units, and what I suggested is. Tehran was to pay the residents to move, right? Now, I want to give you an example of what I mean by that. And this is the keeping things open and looking for ways to solve problems. Okay, so let's say that a property is 100K, and this property is 15%. I'm just making these numbers up, but 15%. So the cap rate at 100K is 15%. Technically, we can pay it as high as how much? How much can we pay? How much can we pay? So if the property is 100K and it's 15% cap rate, 15 cap rate, what does that mean? What does that mean for income? So the net operating income is 15K per year. Does everybody see that? After all our expenses and everything, finance there. Yeah, okay, everybody see that? 15K. Now, 15 cap is good, yes? Okay, so let's pretend this is our situation, but the tenants are there and they don't want to leave it empty. We're trying to get rid of the tenants. You can't just ask them to leave. If they have leases and stuff, you got to honor those leases, okay? Unless you're the resident in those particular units, right? So let's pay these people off, right? Let's see if they're willing to take some money to move, right? Now, if I want, I could actually budget 5K to take, to offer to say these 3 tenants to leave. Right, so I can say, come up and say, look, I'm going to give each one of you $1,500 to move because I have other plans for this property. Are you open to that? Could we do that? Could we say, I'm gonna give $1,500? Well, sure we could, right? And what we could do in this situation, so for us, what does that mean to us? Well, if we spend $4,500 to get these people to move, what's really happening here is real simple. The price is no longer 100K. What is it? It's 4,500. Everybody see that? That's all that means. That's all that means. So we run our numbers at 104,500, and our cap rate doesn't even go down doesn't go under 10. It's not even close to under 10. It's still, good property, good income, and it's something that we just incorporate to the purchase price. Does everybody see that? That's like same thing with the expense of rehabbing a property. If you're rehabbing a property and the purchase is 100 and the property needs $10,000, you just add the $10,000 to the purchase price to calculate numbers. but I would have to purchase and close before offering this option to the tenants. Yeah. No. You can offer that, Ron. That's a condition of the purchase. That's a condition of the purchase. So, Ron, and this is the other thing I want you to keep in mind. Time is something that it's extremely flexible when it comes to agreements and contracts. So if the idea is to pay these tenants to leave, what we can do is we can put that as a condition of the agreement, in that it's being sold empty. There's lots of ways we can do this, and the individual that's doing this, the landlord could approach them and offer them that value. So $1,500 each, and we'll pay them the $104,500. We could supply that cash. There's tons of ways we could do that, but that would be all in our contract and our agreement. That could all be done through the contract and agreement. Now, obviously, we want to use legal representation and support in something like this. But this is something that you can absolutely do without question to mitigate this problem. You could actually, walk up to each one of them and offer them, $2,500 each, and that would still only bring you up to 107, and you'd still be in good shape. You could still be in good shape, So I want you to consider other options to get these tenants to move. So I think, Ron, when you say that if the landlord agrees, I don't know exactly what the problem would be with the landlord not doing that. I don't completely understand that. I think it might have been, and forgive me if I'm wrong here, Ron, just the approach of maybe how you approached it to her. But I don't see why the landlord would have a problem with offering people money, a substantial chunk of money to move. Why that would be a problem? I don't know how many people would be disappointed if someone walked up and said, I'll pay you $2,000 to move. Yeah, that's odd. Maybe there's something more to that story, Ron, that neither one of us are privy to. But I mean, if you're offering someone $2,000, I've offered people to leave an apartment, a tenant that I didn't like. I've offered them money to leave. I've offered a tenant to leave, paying them money. Let me give you 1 month free, and I'm gonna pay you a month, to leave. So you have basically the ability to have first and last month's rent for wherever you want to go. There's so many things you can do. And I think that the key is to remember it's easier to work with people and give them a benefit to their action, some sort of benefit. If you're receiving a benefit, then what's wrong with offering them a little bit of that? I think it's fair. Would you consider finding the tenant a new property rent? Yeah, you could do that, absolutely. I like where your head's at, Zach, for sure. Why not, right? Now, if this is a tenant that I don't like having as a tenant, I just don't think they're a good tenant for me, then no, I wouldn't, obviously. But Zach, yeah, if I need them to move for a different reason and they're an okay tenant, then I would definitely consider that. That would be excellent, actually, to do that and look at another opportunity. So I think that the key is to keep your mind open, and it might sound unconventional to say to somebody, well, let's pay the tenants to leave, but because you think you're losing something, but you're not really losing anything, right? For us, we really don't care what we pay for a property. Why do we care what we pay for a property? We really don't care how much it costs. All we care about is income. If the property, warrants the purchase price, we're okay. What that number is, we really don't care. We really don't care what that price is. Because what we're doing is we're trying to acquire and control as many properties as we can with the lowest amount of money that we need, and leverage it as high as we can, because that's going to produce the highest yield for us, right? And create the most security in our portfolio. Obviously we're talking about corporations and setting up properly, obviously all the other components of it, but really that's what it's about. How much, how little of money do I need to control this property to produce income that might be 5%, 10%, in some cases it might be 20 or even 30 or 40%, but there's usually, when you're getting over 10%, there's a a plan to exit that money out, to get that money out, either through refinance or private financing, so many different ways. But we really don't want to keep our own money in there, as little as money as possible in that property. Any questions? Reconsider funding. Okay. Hey, no problem, my friend. No problem. Any questions? Anybody? Any other questions? We got about 19 minutes. What else would you like to talk about tonight? For the last 15 minutes or so. Because the main thing I wanted you to do is get that new sheet out, and let you guys play around with that sheet, and make sure that you were clear and understanding on it. Answer any questions. Okay, let's see people typing. Okay. So you didn't see the sheet that I had up? Let me bring it up again. What I'm talking about is this sheet here. Nope. Sheet, the cash flow sheet 4 v.4. Sure, that can happen. Okay, if you were to entertain an investment partner, how does that work on a new property? Does their name go on title, or just write up an agreement? So there's lots of ways you can do that, Dave. Obviously, great question. Partnerships are great and important. Ron, you're asking again, how does partnership work? Partnership really can be done in any way, and the key, I could tell you in general, because I'm not a lawyer and I want you to discuss this with a lawyer, but really the biggest thing you want is you want things to be clear. So a clear entry and a clear exit. A clear entry and a clear exit is really what you want. And when you're dealing with a property, and we're looking at a property, typically, you can do it any way you want. Obviously, there's lots of ways we can do it, but typically the property is going to be controlled, owned by a corporation, and the income or the way the money can be done, it can be through shares of the corporation, the joint venture partnership. So the person's name does not have to be on title for that property. It could be set up where there's an agreement, or shareholders agreement for this particular property, based on how you've decided to split it up. You could split the income, you could split the proceeds from the sale at the end of the term, whenever you decide to do it. All that being said, there's 100 ways you can do it, 1,000 probably, 10,000 ways you can do it. The big thing is to make sure that there's a clear exit and entry into it. Entry usually is pretty clear for people, but exit, so what if somebody wants to leave? What is the process? So let's say we have a deal where it's a lease option, is 3 years, and the person says for whatever reason, they put up the money and they say, I need my money now. You need a process to get their money out. What is that process? Well, they have to wait 6 months from written request, and the cost of doing it or refinancing or any cost associated with getting the money, this is going to be the cost. This is what it's going to cost you to get the money out in 6 months. It doesn't have to be a cost. It could be anything. But there's so many ways you can set that up. But you do need a clear, concise path for someone to get out of a deal with you, right? So if they're in a deal in a partnership, whether it's business partnership or property partnership or any partnership, really, in my view, you need a way for people to get out, so you don't, when the time comes, if that time comes, you don't say, you said this and I said this, and don't you remember you agreeing to this? It's all on the contract and the agreement. You should always get people to, advise people at least to go see a lawyer when you're doing those partnerships. But really, the flexibility of partnerships is you can do anything you want as long as you're not breaking the law. You can pretty much create anything you want. So yeah, absolutely, Ron. I can tell you, I could tell you my lawyer and what he does. If you want, he's very equipped. Here, let me give you his name. Here, you already have it, but I'll give you the guy that I use, who's amazing in my view. Give me 1 second. Let me get to his name. He's a corporate lawyer. He does this all the time. He's amazing with partnerships. Give me 1 second. Shareholders agreement, stuff like that. 1 second. Okay, here we go. So you feel free to reach out to him. Just tell him that Sam just referred me. Just have a couple of questions about some stuff I want to do. Is the lawyer for partnership the same as real estate lawyer? I mean, technically, Kathy, they're lawyers, right? They could do that. It's contracts and agreements. But you could have a separate guy for real estate lawyer that just processes paper. You could use him for this too. Obviously, the real estate transaction portion of it, if it's a standard agreement, it's pretty simple. When you're dealing into corporations, shareholder agreements, partnerships, you want someone who's equipped to deal with corporate and contract law. And the guy I use, Adnan, is amazing. He's amazing. So you're welcome to reach out to him and ask him some questions for sure. He's a great guy. He'll be able to help you out. Okay, if we rent or lease out the property on behalf of the owner, do we need a property manager's license? So Sierra, if you're doing that, depending on the area that you're in, technically I would say no, but I don't want to say that. I want you to research that by having someone check that for you in your region or area. Because if you're doing you're talking about a sandwich lease option, you're not really, could someone argue that you're being a property manager? They could. Is there, do you need to be licensed or property manager? I want to say no, but I would want you to check it out. You just definitely contact, when you're going through those deals, you want to talk to somebody either who's part of our organization, maybe someone who teaches lease options like Tim would be able to tell you or give you a contact. But the easiest way is to talk to an attorney, right? Talk to an attorney about that. Most of the stuff, if there's areas that are requiring that you need to have a property manager's license, I don't know if that would be part of a single property, Sierra. You might be able to research it on the net for that. But good question. I mean, you definitely don't want to violate or break a rule or law, right? Typically, single-family homes, there seems to be a trend for single-family homes to get some sort of licensing to be a renter. You have so many properties and they're single-family homes. That can happen. That can happen in certain areas where you got to be part of an association or be licensed. That can happen, and that's something that you definitely want to do and pay for. And you just pay it. It's a license from the city, that's a municipality, that's issued by the municipality, and you pay it, and it's done. They're just trying to make sure that people are providing safe, clean housing, safe more than clean, but safe housing for people, and then avoid the whole slumlord, slum landlord for properties. That's all. They're just trying to keep it safe. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, that's a business cost that you can write off as an expense to your business. Yeah, good. Let me see if there's any. No worries, my pleasure. Let me see. Yeah, so you're talking about splitting proceeds. You can do that. When you're talking about partnerships, again, it really can be anything. You can split proceeds on a deal. You can split income on a deal. So this is what you can do: is you get a deal, you put it together. It's a good opportunity, and really all you're asking for the person is money. Saying, look, you put up the down payment for this property, and you could go further to say, let's get the mortgage and the down payment from you. I got the deal, right? And this deal makes money, and you're going to make, $150 in cash flow a month, because this makes $300 net. It makes $300 a month. You're going to get $150, and when we sell it, we're going to make $30,000-$40,000. We're going to split that money too, right? And for someone who has capital and they don't have education, they don't have the ability to actually do these deals, that's a sweet deal. That's a really good deal. There's tons of people with lines of credit that just sit there and do nothing, or access to their RSPs and stuff like that. They have money available. It's just no one's approached them, or they don't know of opportunities where they can just take money and get a mortgage, and boom, they're making money again. So there's lots of opportunities out there. The biggest thing you can do is be the brains of the operation by putting the deal and the structure together. Yeah. You can reach out, or Ron, if you want to set up a time to talk, we can do that, and go further into that kind of stuff. Good. Any other questions? Two more minutes. Okay. I love it when I see it says multiple attendees are typing. And let's see. Okay, Sam, do you have a contact for an accountant familiar with BC law? So Zach, my guy we should be able to help you with that. I have another contact. Tell you what, Zach, if you want, I'll give you another contact too. That's not a problem. The guys that teach your asset protection class are familiar with that area too. So yeah, if you have any challenges with that, Zach, if you need a little more help with that area, reach out to me and I'll let you know. Okay. So if I want to, let's see, if I want to pass this cash flow sheet, how do I do that if the person isn't in the convoy? If I want to pass this cash flow sheet, how do I do that if the person isn't in combo? Let's see. Okay, so this sheet really is for you. If there's somebody you're working with and you wanna explain it to them or share with them, it's not really for distribution. But if there's someone that you're looking at doing a deal with and something, and you want to show them the numbers, I'm totally okay with that. She's a student. Just email it. Email it. You have the copy of the sheet, yes? Okay, good. So just email it. You can email it through Gmail just as an attachment. It's you've opened it up, right? You've saved it as an Excel sheet. Okay, you're good to go. Yeah, you can do that. Anybody who wants to send this sheet out to our group, go and knock yourself out. That'd be great. Okay, so let me see. Okay. On the sheet, did you say that the retail price was based on the area? So Amanda, always, we're looking at cap rate. That's always based on income. The cap rate you see the the cap rate that you see. Area standard cap rate is really going to work against the retail. What's considered retail in that particular area. So let's say the cap rate is 3. It's going to base that on income, right? That's going to base that on income. That's where that number comes from. Is that answering your question? Okay, good. Absolutely. Yeah, if you can use that, for sure you can. There's no reason. It's just numbers, right? Expenses are expenses. Taxes are taxes. If there's additional expenses paid that you need to put in, just add them to the sheet. Yeah, absolutely. You can use it anywhere in the world, right? All we're doing is we're really assessing these properties as if they were businesses, and that's the way we should, right? If it's a business, this is how you do it. You'd say, look, what's the income on this property, and how much do I have to pay to buy this income? That's what we're doing. We're buying income. How much does it cost me to buy this income? That's what we're asking the question, right? And if I have to buy the income at a 5%, let's say a 5 cap rate, I was basically saying that it's going to take me 20 years to get my money back against the investment of the the actual property, the business. If it's 10, then it's going to take 10 years, right, to get the money back based on the income, right, the net operating income. If it was 15, it would take me, what, 7 point something, just over 7 years to get my money back. That's really what you're assessing in this situation. Let's see, okay, spreadsheet. So yeah, that would be challenged, and I've never invested in the Philippines. I know people. Probably the biggest challenge in like the Philippines is that transaction time and cost is variable because they're not as advanced in the transaction of property. I think that would be my concern. And I would definitely be over the top with legal. If I was investing in the Philippines, I would make sure that I had a great legal team working on properties, if those contracts and agreements, because it's something you'd want to make a mistake on. Just in Mexico, and places like Philippines is pretty advanced, but I would still consider it, second world going to first world. That's the transition for them. Mexico, I was just in Mexico, and Mexico is still, I would still consider second world going to first world. And I'll give you an example. I was at the airport, got off the plane, and picked up a cab from the airport. So this is right from the airport. These are airport cabs, and he drove me to my hotel, and he didn't have a credit card machine. It was cash only. I had to pay him cash, and to me, countries that are still cash-based economies, which many of these countries are, there's some challenges with expanding the economy, and I think it's extremely important that countries have the ability to access debt and credit and stuff like that. It has to be managed properly, obviously. But you definitely want to make sure that when you're into those countries, there's opportunity there for sure. You make sure that your legal is covered. You want to make sure your legal and your contracts and agreements are in order, because typically their transaction period in time and cost is not. It's just not as easy as a flow. In second world countries, where we could do a real estate transaction in a matter of days or weeks, or even say 30 days, right? In other countries, it might take months to do a real estate transaction, or and part of it could be the transparency of ownership on properties. Who owns it, who actually owns it, what's liened against it, what's owed against it. So definitely legal would be something, Faith. I would be my biggest concern would be legal. I would want to make sure that I was following and double checking, triple checking, and make sure you have a good legal team when you're dealing in those properties. Faith, you're from there? Are you from the Philippines? Yeah, so I mean, you know better than me, right? I mean, you're from there, and you probably know a lot more than me in reference to that particular location. Or are you? Okay, that's cool. Congratulations. I'll tell you that market, you know this, that market's exploded in the last 10 years. Exploded. Properties have just exploded. Pricing, there's been a huge move up. I think it's slowed down a little bit from what I hear, but there's definitely opportunity there, Faith, as you probably already know. Yeah. Well, I'll wait till you get there and set up shop, and then we'll think about doing that. But hey, this is how we do it. No problem. That's great that you're there. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being worldwide. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. Any other questions? Are we good? Good. Okay, so if we're good, just type in yes. And what I'm going to do is I'll post this recording in the next couple days. Same thing, YouTube. And if you know anybody, right, that wasn't on the call, and you want to send them that sheet, that's totally cool. Please send it to them. Let them know that the sheet. And usually I get people